Hello, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on bullets. So like if you have a game where you have a guy that like follows your mouse around and you click the screen, we're going to try and make it so that, and like he's holding like a gun, we're going to try to make it so like some ellipses like come out of the gun and move across the screen. So I started out with some simple code. This is something like you would see in Project Shooting Star, and essentially it just moves ellipse across the screen. So the important things to note are that the ellipse has some properties like X position, Y position, and speed, and then on each loop of the draw we're gonna erase the previous animation and draw the ellipse and move the ellipse. And that's the basics of how you get a ball to move across the screen, so I'm going to assume that you're good on that. Now the next thing that we're going to need is a mouse clicked function, so I wrote a little simple example of that. Every time mouse clicks get detected, the system sets up these X and Y variables for us to use and runs whatever is in between these two curly braces on the mouse clicked function. So I erased the everything that's been drawn, and I draw a new ellipse at the new location. So I often see questions on Khan Academy where they've used this mouse clicked function, not with a background, but with a draw function, and there's a background in the draw function. So they can't see their ellipse, they see it like flickering here and there. So what they want is usually to like make some kind of game where the bullets are spawned at the X and Y location where the mouse is being drawn, and they don't want the ellipse to disappear, and they want it to do something like this where you're moving the ellipse from its initial location across the screen so that your guy can like shoot the enemy or whatever. So here is a third simple example program where I've changed up the syntax a little bit, and my bullet is now represented within this object. It has X and Y and speed properties. I wrote this little helper function that'll take an object and just add the speed to the position. There's other ways to do that. You don't have to write this extra function, but I like doing things like that. And in my draw, I have a for loop. So it's going to loop over this array and draw all of the bullets at their X and Y locations. And the reason you need to set up an array like this is because presumably you're going to allow your character to fire multiple times. Like it wouldn't make sense to have this kind of a setup where you have just a few variables, because then you would like click somewhere and the bullet would jump back. So like maybe there's two enemies and you click here and you shoot at them, and then you click here and the bullet, before it ever reaches the first enemy that you're fired at, has to jump back over here. No, you need multiple bullet objects, so you need some kind of way of storing that data. And I find that the most intuitive, best way is to learn about object-oriented programming and storing those objects in an array and then looping over the array with a for loop. So each time in the for loop, I draw the bullet and I move the bullet, and it's that simple. The only thing we need now is to set up the mouse clicked function. Hold on, I'm going to set down the background to erase it so that it looks like it's moving instead of streaking. So the only thing we need now is a mouse clicked function. Similar to how we had mouse clicks sort of spawning ellipses, but only very temporarily. But we want our mouse clicked function to spawn them more permanently. So what we have to do is we have to put them in this bullet array, because then this loop will find them in that array and draw them and move them. And the way you put things in an array is with the push method. And what are we going to push? We're going to push some kind of object, so we need curly braces. And just like how we have, get out of there, just like how we have up here all of these properties, we're going to need 3 properties, only instead of putting in that, I need to put in that. Let's see if it worked. Indeed. And then I can get rid of this. So another thing that you might do is to also put colors into your objects. And then in the for loop, where it's looking at all of the bullets in the bullet array, just go extract that color into the fill function. Or instead of having a random color, you might have a color variable set up here. So it's a global variable and you can access it other places. I don't really know why you'd want to do that at this point. Speed all these bullets up. Anyways, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I think the next thing I'd do is put put some dimensions on this image so it draws a certain amount, and then move where I'm spawning those bullets over. But I'm going to leave this as a more general tutorial on moving bullets and not build a specific game. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me here or on Khan Academy. It's great. See you guys later.